Arreoblue Data Podcast, where we talk all things data and innovation. On today's episode, we're going to be talking a lot about innovation with projects from migrating to SAP and putting analytics on top and what that all means and entails. We've got a lovely guest here who actually wanted an intro music, but hopefully we can edit that in after. Terry Jordan from Jospeh Joseph. Hi, Terry. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Gus. Really good.
I knew you wanted to say it, so we'll keep that bit in there. Terry loves to call me Gus. But amazing. So Terry, we're going to be talking a bit about a recent project that we actually worked with you. But before we kind of jump into that, let's just introduce yourself to the viewers and
sure.
What your role is at Jospeh Joseph.
Yeah, so I joined Jospeh Joseph around about 18 months ago as the IT director. So I'm accountable for looking after technology across the Jospeh Joseph group. It's a great job. It's a challenging job. And when I landed on site in London, one of the biggest challenges was transforming a failing transformational project. They were struggling to implement SAP S/4HANA. They were struggling to build into that an analytics platform and also building and connect a B2B commerce platform, which was New Order. So many different software products, many different enterprise software solutions. So we had to build a new program, look at our suppliers and set up for success with a team that was ready to deliver to the Jospeh Joseph timelines and budget. So I came in as the IT director, set up the team and started that transformation.
Awesome. And I guess your experience before Jospeh Joseph?
Yeah, so before Jospeh Joseph, I worked at Dr. Martens in the supply chain world, doing some really great projects there around PLM and warehouse onboarding. And then before that, I think 4 or 5 years at Burberry. I think everybody knows Burberry and their luxury fashion outfit. So there I was working in the SAP world, looking after a number of SAP products and solutions to drive that business. And then before that, working around the globe as a consultant, getting my badges, doing multiple things from data migrations to designing complex brewery systems and so on. So now I'm here at Jospeh Joseph looking after technology, and that's my career in a nutshell for you, Gus.
Amazing. I'm sure all of those skills came into play as part of this this project, but we're not going to go into the technical deep bits of it. I guess before we kind of jump into what it actually looked like what you ended up building. I mean, can you set a bit of context as to why you even looked at changing platforms and innovating that aspect of?
Yeah, so the decision to move to SAP had already been decided before I arrived. The thinking behind that was that they were running a ERP solution that had been bastardized, it had not been governed, it had not been controlled with a proper kind of keep the core clean, keep the solution tight, so then the business could drive and grow from that. They got in a situation where they'd lost control, their data was then being polluted, their processes were being polluted, so they needed to change the ERP. And they believed in the dream of what SAP brings and the digital enterprise and then the solutions that can come on top of that. So they took it as an opportunity, a 20-year-old business as Jospeh Joseph, to kind of start again and really look at how the business operates and how a new ERP solution could come in and change their thinking, grow their automation, bring in brand new reporting functions, remove Excels and Power Queries and bad process and bad practice. So it was an opportunity to start again a little bit in the tech landscape and create a platform for success.
I like that. That's definitely laying the foundations to then allow them to continue to grow in the next 20 years.
Yeah, definitely.
And I guess obviously so tricky because you're almost thrown into the project as it was moving, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Which obviously brings in a whole host of challenges. But I guess what are some of the main challenges that you were kind of seeing that led them to kind of jump into this and move to that?
So I think 101 with delivering a transformational project is you've got to have the right people around you, the right suppliers, the right internal team, and create an ethos to win. And for me, we had to look at how the team was set up, what the goals were, what the objectives were, what we were trying to achieve, controlling scope, choosing the right tech tooling to support the tech platform that we were building, And when I say tech tooling, that's not just the actual physical tooling, but the strategy, the approach, how we would build, how we would deploy, how we would test. All those things had to be considered. I hope you can tell from the podcast, I've got a level of fun and energy that comes with anything I do. So it was creating that we can type of attitude. So when I was kind of building the team, building the suppliers around that, we put some leadership principles together to say, we're going to deliver this program if we believe in these leadership principles and we get behind it, that type of soft skill stuff. And then naturally, we had to get under the bonnet and look at what was being delivered, what was our analytics strategy, what was our approach to transforming processes and how SAP would sort that. And then one of the biggest things we had to look at was integration. Not only the integration to our warehousing solutions through our 3PLs, but also integration into how we were getting certain data assets to the analytics platform, but also to the B2B platform, and so on. So, we had to look at the team, the soft skills, the integration patterns, the processes, the scope, the senior leadership ambitions and beliefs about what they really wanted to get out of landing this.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting there. What, are you able to share a little bit more about what the principles were that you built out?
So we've got 4 principles that we operate to. The first one, and the one I feel most passionately about, is we are business obsessed. So we don't build technology teams that don't like business. We don't build technology teams that sit in dark rooms. We build technology teams that are obsessed with knowing the business, knowing how the business thinks, the processes, and how we can succeed by being obsessed with the business. That's the kind of first kind of ground rule. The second principle is having strong end-to-end accountability. We don't like to have a function that only cares about one part of the solution. We like to have a function that thinks end-to-end because we see everything end-to-end, be that a data from its birth all the way to its end information to the business. We really need that strong end-to-end accountability. Now, the third one, and it's to be outcome focused. So quite often I see in my career, people think about the output. I need to produce this report. Whatever happens, I produce a report and I throw some numbers on there. But does that get you the outcome, the business benefit? Is that exactly how the report should be structured? Is that how the transaction, the process should be produced? So it's making sure people are always thinking about, is this the outcome we want, not just the output? And then the fourth one, and the one I'm starting to forget, but it's going to come to me, and that's it, passionately innovative. So tech moves fast. We're always changing. We're always reading on LinkedIn and so on about all the great innovation that's going on there. So I need to make sure that the team aren't building on old tech, redundant tech, and building a technical debt within the team, within the transformation. So I support the team being innovative, being passionately innovative, trying, failing fast, and just being ambitious. So it's all about business obsession, strong end-to-end accountability, being passionately innovative, and the fourth one, which was outcome orientated. So they are the 4, and I drill them home to my team internally and to the suppliers that are a part of our ecosystem.
That's really good. I mean, and to echo that, obviously, I was part of this project, right? So
that is where you got your nickname, Gus.
Exactly, yeah.
Everybody has a nickname when they join the project.
Exactly, linking back to those principles of having fun as well whilst we're doing it. And,
too right.
I definitely felt that when we were having those project meetings, and when you bring in the wider team, and just seeing how everyone kind of bought into that, I thought that was really, really good.
I mean, what I would add to that, I do believe in badges down. So I don't like anybody to create a team where, oh, you work for partner A, you work for partner B, you work for this business function, that business function. It's all about healthy cross collaboration. Badges down, we're all one team. Just to chip in there on that one.
Yeah, no, I really like that. I mean, one of the aspects that was interesting to understand is like the roles that the different teams and the responsibilities that people had. So that's that, and it's really good to see that's how you kind of thought of it. Because again, this is a huge project, right? These migrations are massive projects, and one of the things that I found interesting is obviously there's different segments of it. Analytics is just one piece. What were some of the things that you kind of, I guess, to make sure the success? How did you make sure that all kind of clicked together?
Wow,
that is a
question for a podcast that's not sure how long it's going to take. But look, I think if I focus in on analytics, we're here at the Arreoblue Data Podcast. The biggest challenge we had, I mean, I'm going to talk about the challenge was we were working with one data set from the old ERP and then working with brand new SAP data sets. Combining them to produce an outcome was extremely challenging. So it's, we had to make sure that we designed right, collaborated with the business right, and knew exactly what we wanted. And then we tried to abstract the technical complexity of those different data sets and those different systems all landing at once. So that's one of the things, I suppose. Yeah.
Nice. And I guess, so actually now jumping straight into the implementation, how obviously we went right from the start of concept, designing it, to then, the output there. How was your experience of the journey? Obviously, you mentioned a couple of different partners working in there, and we obviously, Arreoblue, were helping with that. What was your experience, and how would you advise people that are listening in, looking to use other partners to get the most out of that?
So I'm a firm believer of a famous article called Pace-Laid Approach. And I'm a firm believer in trusting your supplier. Once you've chosen that supplier, trust them, trust their methodology, trust their people. So, I didn't have the capacity to micromanage every single supplier's methodology, every single individual's way of working. So I was very conscious of being led by Arreoblue. And once I met you guys and we had made the decision to collaborate and innovate and build our analytics platform with you, I knew that the way you were going to do it, it felt right. And let's be blunt, your slideware was appealing and it made sense, and it kind of translated well to the business. And when you've got that translation to the business already out of a package, you can succeed. And I think the approach of being innovative, failing fast came through in the way we were working on that project.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, and again, I think just that partnership, we were very much part of your team, like daily, like working with you daily, having conversations daily. It just felt like we were part of the JJ team, and that was really, really good at that. And I guess, obviously, loads of successes and challenges. It'd be great to understand, obviously, now that we're kind of through, or we're on the second phase, I guess now. But what were the biggest successes, I guess, from the project?
So the biggest success for us is, I think, when you're doing an ERP transformation and you're also then building your analytics platform and you're also building your B2B commerce platform and you're also changing lots of business processes, the biggest success is just to get live. People will strive for perfection. They will be obsessed with their process being absolutely perfect. I'm a firm believer of the 80-20 rule, even the 70-30 rule. Once you're live, once you can operate your business successfully, you can then improve. You can then fill in the gaps which wasn't perfect. You can then grow. Otherwise, you will continually circulate on trying to get to a nirvana that's not achievable with an ERP transformation. Mm-hmm. I'll be honest, we went live in October 2023, and those 6 months post that were incredibly difficult. But we went live, and no one will ever look back now and say, wow, that was horrendous. They look back and think, we did it. We're live. The team is still believing in how we operate and putting in change requests, and now continuously improving both the SAP system, the analytics reports that we build from that, and so on. So look, I will stress to anyone who's watching this podcast, just get it live and don't worry about every minutiae of perfection when you're doing this type of thing.
Yeah, it's a really good point there. If you, I guess, be too much of a perfectionist on it, like you could be waiting forever to release it. And then again, exactly. you get wider viewpoints from people that are using the platform. They give you more beneficial feedback, I guess, more people testing it when you do go live, right? So, change requests are things that we have to accept, right? And I really like that point. That was like, we are kind of evolving, like the analytics has evolved since then. Yeah. I mean, you mentioned previously, like before we had Excel's manual kind of.
Yeah,
I know it's a tough time, isn't it? But we had Excel's manual duplication of these reports. I guess what's been the impact of the project since? And obviously, we're talking data and analytics, but
So look, 101 business benefit. We want to get rid of antiquated Excel manual management. I mean, you must hear this all the time, Gus. That was a big benefit for us. And when we were producing board packs, it was Excel. When we were producing new product development insights, it was Excel's. It was macros. It was Power Queries. It was time consuming. It wasn't dynamic. It didn't give our leadership real-time intelligence. So being able to build a suite of data models that fed live dashboards and some paginated reports and then some drill down interactive dashboards was a huge benefit in regards to a click of a button. We would refresh the data coming from SAP into Power BI and saying, right, well, let's look at that sales organization slightly differently. And let's look at those kind of order fill rates. We could see that pretty quickly without having to ask someone from the team to run a 7-day exercise to get it into Excel and reformat it and rerun it and then fix a macro,
Yeah.
That dynamic ability to run a business through enterprise software and technology is invaluable.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, just the shivers of those macros.
I think you looked at them for hours, right?
Yeah, and again, like, part of when we were designing the solution, part of it was just really learning your business and how it operates. And I went all the way through right from the start to the end of those Excels and really learned them. But no, and again, like some of the, obviously landing this analytics and providing this, automation, all of that is a huge benefit. How have you kind of the soft benefits, I guess, of like how it's changing the data culture at Jospeh Joseph? Like, any thoughts on that part?
So it's an interesting one. When we look at master data versus transactional data, we were in a situation where master data was not governed. It was changed by anybody in the business. It was no data governance controls, no kind of what good looks like. So we set up a master data team that would basically govern all key master data objects. So when you've got a bedrock of solid master data, and then that's then pushing through the ecosystem of the tech landscape, you knew you had a bit of trust and you had a version of truth that you could rely on, which then when you were building out your information reports off that data set, you were looking at solid information. Quite often in the past, you would have a Excel report from the sales team versus an Excel report in the supply chain team, all from different data sets maintained by different individuals. It was you were fighting more about whose data set and report is accurate rather than actually talking about what that data is informing us and intelligently tell us what to do.
Yeah, it's spending more time actually arguing about whose data is correct is just not beneficial for the business, right? But
so now we know that our data is mastered by one team. It's moved through the landscape in some very consistent data pipelines to a platform that everybody works off.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, that's that standardization of data, right?
Indeed.
And have you seen the kind of appetite for people to play with data more increase since then?
Yeah, and this is the one thing I'm trying to get more of, really. So you hear about people doing hackathons and building dashboards and reports. So we are trying to encourage our teams to leverage the tooling we put in. It's just it changes so fast, and we have still got to run the business and produce and still run the business basically. But yeah, the team are excited. I do think we need to build more data models. We need to build the right data models before we start running away with building lots of different reports and dashboards that aren't supportable and sustainable. So I'm a firm believer of getting the right data from the right data sources, the right systems of record. Building those solid data models will then give you a good solid playground to build dashboards and reports. I don't think we're fully there yet. We would like more data coming from more sources, and that's the journey we're on at the moment. We want to bring in more data from our retailers that we sell to, more data from our warehouses, more data from our factories and raw materials producers, so on. So, as you know, Gus, the world is our oyster now that we know how to bring data into our landscape, structure it, and Power BI off the top of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it kind of leads me onto this your future outlook, I guess. Obviously, you've just gone through a huge change in the business. You're still kind of working on the bits of that, I imagine. But I guess analytics is people will now start to wonder how they could use data more. I guess what are your insights and thoughts on the future aspects? We've been doing a lot of stuff around retail trends. How demand forecasting versus the warehouse inventory kind of comes in. Where do you kind of see the most important areas of I guess, not just for your business, but in retail?
So there's always going to be a drive on forecast accuracy, understanding the demand out there and then meeting that with the right supply. So anything we can do to give a better insight into supply chain and visibility, where our products are, when they're going to be produced, when they're going to land in the right regions and warehouses to the right retailers. Anything we can dashboard and look at from that gives us a really good opportunity to improve that forecast accuracy by 0.5%. Or 1% means a lot of money. So that's a big opportunity and a big growth area for us. We're obviously always looking at sales trends, who's buying what, is there commonality in regards to how our product set is being bought. So anything we can do to give our sales team a better KPI dashboard to help them kind of sell our brand, sell our amazing, iconic British Jospeh Joseph brand is really helpful. So yeah, sales KPI dashboards are a big win for us as well, and so on, procurement and lots of other things that we're looking at. Yeah.
No, so I'm sure my name pops up multiple times there. It seems to be JJ stuff is filling my kitchen and other rooms. But
I mean, I'll be honest. Look, Jospeh Joseph, we believe we're an entrepreneurial brand. I think we're quite a sexy brand. I love it. Yeah, it's great stuff. Go buy Jospeh Joseph. I'm joking.
No, please do. And I guess just as we kind of wrap up, obviously we've kind of talked through some different parts of the project. If there's any retailers or other companies that are kind of thinking about going through or are in the process of going through this kind of journey, any kind of final parting words of wisdom for them?
So look, I mean, if you're thinking about an ERP transformation, that's a very considerable thing to think about. I don't need to tell people that it's a huge undertaking, costing lots of money, involving your whole company. What I would say is, take that with lots of consideration and focus on your partners to advise you on that. But when it comes to analytics platforms, if you are a small, growing, medium-sized company, or even a smaller company, data is a weapon. It's invaluable. I don't think people realize the world beyond Excel, and Bill Gates will hate me saying this, but we do need to systemize and use our data as an asset. Everyone's talking about generative AI. Generative AI is not going to be any good if we don't have the right foundational data feeding those models and machine learning and so on. Maybe my advice would be not to do it all at once, but give it a go. Be a winner. Be a daredevil. Make it happen. We're in a great place now, Jospeh Joseph. Our ecosystem has got a great platform. We're growing off the back of it. It's exciting times. We've got another rich year of things that we want to do. Implementing CRMs, looking at product information management solutions, and that's all because we know we've got a pretty solid grounding now, and we've got analytics right off the top of that.
Awesome. Well, I guess thank you very much for joining us on this podcast, and yeah, congratulations again on that project. I think that's you've done a really good job, and the partner that was there was really good as well.
Yeah, no comment. It was a tough decision, but is this where I get to walk out now with Chesney Hawks?
You can drop the mic, although they are attached. But
brilliant, perfect. It's great chatting with you, Gus.
Amazing. Thank you very much, and thank you all for the listeners.